What can be more exciting than traveling? Crossing continents to face different reality, with your old self transforming into a new awareness of the world around you. Traveltastic will supply you with the best destinations to visit, most informative pieces of traveling tips, and engrossing stories about the world of traveling, all coupled with the eye-riveting photography from the world's most beautiful locations. Top Travel Trends 2020 COVID. Welcome to Traveltastic, the medium for those passionate travel lovers to link up together and share their views on the best ways and places to travel. In this video called Top Travel Trends 2020 COVID, we will share with you the freshest traveling tendencies and give useful tips on how and where to travel. Save nature and livelihoods by traveling. Help save nature and livelihoods by traveling to wild destinations. Have you ever thought of why some rivers are that dirty? Look at the root of the problem. Travel to the source. Many rivers are contaminated at the source. According to National Geographic, one of the surest ways to stop this water pollution is to travel to the spring itself. Some of the best spots to benefit the local communities and environment are Mau Forest in Kenya, where Mau River rises, and Okavango River source in Botswana. Visit Mekong and Irrawaddy basins to help struggling fishermen deprived of their livelihoods by the Chinese dam's construction upstream, and see the pristine nature currently endangered by the rapidly modernizing world. Travel on land. Traveling by air, sadly, can now appear a thing of the past. Countries limiting travel to citizens only can start opening borders fairly soon, but the general unwillingness to share cramped cabin in the plane or pay exorbitant fares for a more distance out air trip can significantly lower the numbers of those boarding a flight. The hottest trends according to Traveltastic include journeying by land to either countries with land borders already open or within your country of residence. The post-pandemic world is a perfect time to pick up hiking in the countryside or experiment with things previously rarely done in your area. Go tubing on the rivulet next door or kayaking on the lake where your granddad used to fish. There is no need to wait for crowds of best-selfie spot hunting gap year students to cheer you on. Such micronations will result in lessening human carbon footprint and will help stem the spread of the disease. Blowing bubbles everywhere. If you're still willing to venture abroad, keep close watch of traveling developments. Some countries, such as New Zealand and Australia, are about to establish a free travel zone known as Trans-Tasman Travel Corridor, and a similar cross-border free movement bubble can come up between Germany, Austria, the Czech Republic, and a number of the Balkan and Central European countries. Traveling to Korea and Taiwan is still relatively easy, with necessary self-isolation in most cases, but nevertheless relatively hassle-free entry procedures. Transcontinental travel isn't likely to pick up anytime soon, even though some countries like Turkey are already starting to open up across the board. Travel agent redux. Another worrying development is that even if traveling over borders will somewhat recover by the end of the year, it won't be the traveling we used to know. Some countries like Thailand and Myanmar, before announcing travel bans, had already introduced obligatory testing prior to your travels, while almost all over the globe there had been stringent quarantining protocols for those newly arrived. Such practices will return once restrictions on holidaying abroad are lifted. It is still unclear if prior testing will eliminate the need for on-arrival isolation or it will be mandatory still. In South Korea, the compulsory quarantining of inbound travelers is lifted in cases of short-term business traveling. Similar exemptions can be made in particular cases elsewhere in the future. Apart from a select few in the Pacific region, countries which draw inspiration from socialist past seem to be more averse to border shutting. For example, Belarus has not only left borders open, letting people in given they self-quarantine, but also kept football games going. Another change will be uptake in demand for health insurance, with the need to think about the best policy before traveling. To sort these concerns out, many may recourse to travel agents who may stage a surprising comeback amidst what may seem as the end to more expensive and hassle-free solo traveling. Different approaches in the tourism policy. One of the most interesting trends in the travel industry will be on what criteria they allow you in once the borders are ajar, so to speak. What will matter at the customs control? Will it be the country of your departure or that of which you are a citizen? If some countries had allowed people from France when the outbreak was raging there, given they had stayed a fortnight in a relatively virus-free country, the US banned all French citizens regardless of where they were traveling from. These differences in approach will determine how we will travel in the future and can create what will in effect be countries' lazaratos, where travelers from virus-hit areas will travel to sit out the period of time specified by the country of their destination for them to be allowed entry. Girls helping out girls. Coming back to snippets of traveling info which are less gloomy, one of the 2020 hottest travel trends prior COVID-19 was the girls-only travel. Not only were there no men in the touring group and the guide was female, but the whole supply chain behind the travel experiences were men exclusive. Such traveling can enhance the rights of women and lift many out of poverty. With social consciousness taking a more and more prominent place in our lives, women empowerment can trickle into the less developed countries, with such tours being in an even higher demand post-pandemic. The vulnerable minority groups and women are more likely to lose their jobs as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak and will need additional opportunities to earn a living and improve their lives. Phasing out plastic. Plastics are another scourge. Turtles are often seen floating on the surface of the blue, unable to dive through the inadvertent intake of bits of plastic. In many places around the world, phasing out plastics has already begun. Kenya and Thailand are just a few countries to have undertaken single-use plastic elimination nationwide. Dubai Airport and leading hotel chains are going green with getting throwaway plastic out of their duty-frees and ensuite bathrooms. The results from such action will be visible in the near future, with less marine life suffering from ingesting plastic particles, thus preserving the diversity of marine fauna and reducing the amount of undesirable substances people consume by eating plastic gorging fish. Changes to sharing economy. One of the likely losers of the pandemic will be the former leaders of the sharing economy apps such as Uber Drive, Couchsurfing, and BlaBlaCar, to name but a few. Airbnb hosts will have to reduce the human-to-human interaction, while hostels are bound to see bookings dry up, whatever turn the virus takes. The psychological impact seems likely to be more enduring than that on health and economy. One of the winners will be apartment renting firms, camping grounds, caravanning industry, and flat swapping schemes. Socially significant traveling like volunteering to help endangered species or vulnerable communities can also replace hanging out together on the rooftop of your beloved densely occupied hostel. The unpopularity of public transport and car sharing options can result in the uptake of a healthier lifestyle, with cycling becoming a more and more acceptable alternative to interregional travels by bus or car. New ways of socializing. New ways of socializing must be thought up before we all get bored for real. How to go out now when the clubs are often perceived as clusters of potentially deadly germs? Once again, psychology will be dominant, and to overpower the totally reasonable fear, we just need to chill. Beach reggae bars, rooftop beanbag parties, gathering on floats off the coast of your favorite beach club, such will be the future of social gathering. Less blaring music and tidbit, less mash pitting and grinding will result in a more emotional and deep talk, which will inevitably help fellow travelers forge a more intimate link than any nightclub escapade. New development in science production. Now every traveler can become an aspiring scholar by sharing online their photos of wild species they just came across on their trip, enriched by a new sense of social responsibility and the rapidly changing world. Load up your snapshots on platforms such as Earthwatch and Happy Whale for the academicians to better understand migration patterns and the wildlife around us. If you like our videos, please hit the like and subscribe button to be sublimely happy and supremely informed on your travels and receive paradigm-shifting traveling tips and other fresh out of the oven updates by the travel team in Traveltastic.